Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Front Row Negative, the podcast. And I just talked in the middle of that. Damn it. All right. So, thank you for joining us for this next episode. Things will be a little different this time around. I'm your host, Aaron, and normally that would be followed with a funny name and my co-host, Chris, uh, introducing himself. Unfortunately, Chris can't be here tonight. He is at home taking care of his new family and his new addition to that family. So congrats to Chris and Nicole and baby Sydney that they are all healthy, all doing good, and Chris is being a family man at home. So we'll give him that respect. And he allowed me to do this show without him, or maybe the next few shows without him, because he's going to take care of that. That's going to be his focal point. You know, he's taking the Gargano way out. He's doing that. So, but I need a host. I need a co-host. I need somebody that I can rely on to come in and try to fill those big shoes he has that usually reek of the taco shells from the floors of Ponchos. And we couldn't find that person, but we found somebody else that's pretty damn funny. Former guest, we've had him on before. You could say that he's the Lord of the grits. He's the emperor from the East. He's joining us once again. Rito, how you doing?
What is going on? Although this is usually followed with that fat bitch, it's that grit bitch.
That grit
So,
bitch.
and that's a story for another day. Hopefully, if we ever get a Patreon or anything going on, I'll go into more detail. Until then, you guys will just have to constantly guess and contemplate, because that was about 15 minutes of pure laughter, hysteria, and I got about 15 years of PTSD waiting for me from it. So thanks to my therapist, he gets it, and I'm here. It's the Thanksgiving edition. First off, let me lead this off by saying congratulations to Chris and his family. Um, I was blown away because I kind of figured it out before it happened, and I was just like, oh my god! So it was like a secret I couldn't release. It was just like, it was like the Snyder Cut before the Snyder Cut, but way better. It was the Sydney cut.
It was the Sydney cut.
But I'm so happy. The dude is the happiest. He, like, just seeing the post, seeing him. Like, I can't wait to see the New Balance or me and the family at Poncho posts.
Well, I don't think that's going to happen because that Ponchos, I think, is closed down. So it'll be me and the family staying outside what used to be the Ponchos. Pictures. Back in my day, Ponchos was here.
I used to walk 2 miles this way and 2 miles that way to eat Ponchos.
So normally, you know, I would raise the flag in congratulations to him, but apparently everybody stole the flags out of that Ponchos before they closed up shop. So you can't even do that. So Chris, hope you enjoy this. You know, congrats again, and enjoy that baby, because we know that we've seen all the pictures that you've posted online showing her off, and that luscious red hair that baby has had. He's got a ginger baby.
It's gonna be great. Poncho Poppy now. That's
Poncho
his new,
Poppy.
He's the dad. I'm your Poncho Poppy. We gotta get that shirt made.
I'm gonna get like the little mascot, like caricature, and have him like holding a baby, but it's really just a burrito.
Oh man, it's good to start on a good note, man. But
it is good to start on a good note, and all the congrats to Chris and his family and Nicole. But at the same time, within the last 2 weeks, if you're a kid of the late '80s, if you're a kid of the '90s, you were hit twice in the hearts. I mean, you were hit pretty hard twice. And if you're a fan of the Fox Afternoon or the Fox Saturday Morning block, any of those things, you pretty much know where I'm getting at. When you consider the voice of Batman, Kevin Conroy passed. He didn't survive his battle with cancer, and unfortunately, you know, we lost him. We lost Batman, and with him, he is. When people talk about their favorite Batmans, he's always in the top three. People will say, you know, Michael Keaton, or they'll say Christian Bale, but Kevin Conroy is always in their top three, no matter what. He is a generation's Batman. So he is that kind of a mainstay. I remember watching Batman the Animated Series after school, Monday through Friday, and it was always fun. I was never a big Batman fan, but I did love that show. It was a lot of fun. So, I mean, what are your thoughts on that?
It was tough because so the way I was introduced to that side of Batman, I think it came out like 94, 95. So I was about 3 or 4 years old. I was actually introduced through reruns through the Cartoon Network, which at the time, back east, we didn't have Cartoon Network. It was always like West Coast, down south, or you had to
Really?
have or you had to had like Turner Broadcasting. So they used to do. I think they were owned by Turner, or they still are. And
Yeah.
somehow in that amalgamation of everything, it was just all in house. So like a lot of the stuff, like there was no WCW up here until like the later '90s or like towards the tail end. So
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
anyways, I always saw the ads with Batman standing on top of the Cartoon Network logo saying "I'm Batman," and I was just like, "What is this? This is incredible!" And
Yeah.
then I actually had Mask of Phantasm on VHS that like I rented from Hollywood Video as a kid, and I freaking love that movie.
I had my so I rented Mask and Phantasm from local Blockbuster, and we lost the tape. And I'm using quotations on the word "lost" the tape because we just didn't want to take it back in. So then, whenever Blockbuster tried to hit us up with, I think it was like a $60 fee to replace the tape, because back then tapes were, if they weren't mass produced, for a public sale, you had to buy the rental, which was between $60 to $80. So then when we got hit with that bill, we're like, oh look, we found the tape. We found it. Yeah, it was lost. So, but yeah, we had to return it. But
Well,
yeah, great movie.
you know what's funny? So this is a little scumbag trick. So when I was younger, I had we'll say a friend. For
Hmm.
now, I knew a friend, and what we would do is when we'd rent movies from Blockbuster. So I was about 7 or 8, so I have very vivid memory.
Yeah.
Um, what we used to do because we had like the where you could record and basically like copy a tape.
Yes. Okay.
So we would keep the original, copy
Hmm.
the tape, and then just take the sticker off of the Blockbuster rental and just and we'd record
Wow.
and we would record about like I want to say like 30 to 35 minutes because it's like, well, they rewound it. Let me see if it plays. So I'm sure there's probably like a mass like pile of those VHSs somewhere that's like, oh, Mask of Phantasm, and then like midway through it's just blank.
Uh wow, you caused a riot up there by doing that. I mean, you pulled a Fight Club before it was a Fight Club.
Oh,
Uh,
dude, it's the funniest thing in the world because I know there was some kid that was excited, and his mom and dad are just like, "We're gonna go upstairs, have some fun." They put it in, and Mask of Phantasm, and then it's like "Scent of a Woman" at the half end.
that's wow. So uh, I've never actually met Kevin Conroy. I've been to a lot of conventions. I used to work for a few of them. Um, Never met him. I did attend one convention that he was at, and I remember his line was massive, long line. And this was like during the era of like the early to no, like the early 2010s, the early 2010s.
So Comic Con was just starting to get its like real
Yeah,
legs.
like it was really starting to become like a really pop culture phenomenon. And I want to say that I'm trying to think of who else was there. Like who else was like the big names that were there. I think Jason Mewes was there. I think, if I remember correctly, Jim Lee was there. This is when Jim Lee was still doing conventions outside of New York and outside of San Diego. And I think Dolph Lundgren was there too. This is when Dolph Lundgren started doing conventions. And Conroy, Conroy's line was bigger than Dolph Lundgren's.
That's what that's that appeal because it's like
I mean, Dolph Lundgren, He-Man, The Punisher, various directed DVD or direct to VHS tape action movies, direct to blockbuster action movies. But He-Man is probably his ultimate, nerd goal. Conroy's line was bigger than Dolph Lundgren's. That's how much of a power he had. And I will say, his line was bigger than Dolph Lundgren's, but his line wasn't bigger than somebody else. And I'll get to that person in a little bit. So, but that's the closest I got to Kevin Conroy. I could just see him way out over there. and just sitting there signing autographs, boom, laughing, talking to people, shaking their hands, high five, and all that cool stuff. So that's as close as I've ever gotten to meet him. Was that?
Yeah, no, he was a like he set the gold standard to the voice because in the same vein as Mark Hamill,
Hmm.
you get someone who comes in at 100, it's like, well, I gotta go 100 too, and it's just
Yeah,
like you see those guys working together, and it's just like it's instant magic. And I don't know if they ever like filmed anything together where they were like live in action or anything like that, but he was the gold standard because you had that touch of the Adam West voice, that
yeah,
classic 1960s, and then that like gruff, like kind of Sin City late 90s kind of like where it was like an amalgamation of the two, and
yeah.
it was incredible. When you think of Batman, or when like at that point, if you watch the series and then you read the comic books, that's whose voice you heard.
Well, I mean, when you think of voice actors from the '90s or cartoon shows, or just voice actors in general, there's not too many voices of characters that stand out, that survive the test of time, because they're always replaced. They find somebody new. But Kevin Conroy is Batman, no matter what. Steve Downes is Master Chief, no matter what. Keith David is either Goliath or he's Spawn, but his voice is so iconic and different that he's mainly Goliath no matter what. He can never be replaced because he made a staple with that voice. And Kevin Conroy is Batman. I know they've tried to had like John DiMaggio go in there. They've had other people try to do the voice and try to. I think was it Dietrich Bader try
Hmm.
to do the Batman voice, and yeah, it was corny and it worked for that type of comedy aspect. But it's Kevin Conroy. He is animated Batman. I mean, Arkham Knight, Arkham City, all those games, the animated movies. He's Batman.
I
So
think, yeah, and it's crazy too because whoever tries to do that voice, they base it off that. So it's like
yeah,
no matter who you put in the booth, it's like, well, can you give us more Conroy, or can you give us a little bit of Adam West, or
yeah.
and then if you try doing the whole I'm blanking out on the name right now, Twinkle Vampire, oh my gosh, what's his name? The latest Batman,
Oh, I can't think of his name either. I think I know Kirsten Stewart, her ex.
oh,
I can't think of his name though.
oh, this is good. I hate doing this, but Batman actors.
I can't.
Robert Pattinson.
Yeah,
Oh
yeah,
my
Robert
god.
Pattinson.
See, that's how much of an impact he's made, even though he's possibly made the greatest movie of
Yeah,
2022. But that's neither here or there. But
we'll see.
if you do that voice and it's just like it either comes out super emo or super gravelly or super campy, like I think as far as Batman animated property for like the next 2 to 3 years, I understand they want to strike while the iron is hot.
They always do.
They should just kind of blanket, or they should do like an homage like they did with Brando and Superman. Just
Yeah,
put them on the wall and be like, I am your
yeah.
father.
So, but yeah, so yeah, it was tough with Batman. It started with Batman. It started with Kevin Conroy Batman, and then another king of after school shows and Saturday morning TV and all of that. Jason David Frank, the Green Ranger. I mean, who didn't want to be the Green Ranger growing up? He had the coolest Zord. He had the coolest looking suit. The dude can play a flute without even moving his mouth. I
He wore
mean,
a helmet playing it. Like,
the helmet had a mouth that never moved, and he was able to summon his ride out to do battle. I mean, he was battle dancing, he was battle rapping without no lyrics.
he was jumping into the Megazord. Like, he found the back door to the Megazord and said, "Oh, I'm gonna take. Oh, this is 5-on-1. Psh,
I'm taking the
easy."
fight to you. I'm kicking your door down.
Oh, dude, seeing that as a kid,
Yeah,
I was like, no way. And I'm just like, and then he has his own theme,
yeah.
Green Ranger, ba-na-na-na-na, like,
I mean, how shook was it? Like, we're kids as fans of that, watching. Not only are you getting a new Ranger, but he's got that the shoulder pad thing, like the what they call it, the battle armor.
mm-hmm.
He's got the shoulder pad thing. He's got a dragon for his Zord with a drill tail. He jumps into the Megazord and whoops their ass there too. He takes them all out. I mean, and then he had his own karate sounds. He had his own karate sound effects. I mean, who does that? Like, what person outside of Bruce Lee has their own karate or martial arts sound effects? You can't think of anyone.
It's incredible too because like it's like, oh, okay, you know, I was a Green Ranger, I was taking over, blah blah blah, and it's just like, oh wait, there's more. I'm gonna come
Yeah.
back as the White Ranger, and I'm gonna make Kimberly faint. Like this guy had his cake and ate it too in the show. Like it's just like imagine getting that push. Like you're saying, hey, we're gonna scrap the Green Ranger. Like, oh man, all right, I appreciate the opportunity, but we're gonna bring back the White Ranger.
So wait, he's the Bray Wyatt. He's super over as Bray Wyatt that comes back as the Fiend with both a tiger and an eagle or a falcon.
He had a tiger and a falcon and a dragon. Like, and then he had the bird in the movie that's just like chooch. Like
Yeah,
you had the Megazord. I remember I had that Megazord, and I was like, oh, and the bird, the White Ranger bird was sold separately, which pissed me
it
off as a
was.
kid.
It was.
And I remember I got it for one Christmas. So I was like, oh, this is awesome. And as a kid, you know, you're a kid,
Yeah.
so you can't escape the oh, where's the white bird? And then my mom was like, oh, it was all sold out. I got it for my birthday though, and I was like, yes.
Ah, so I remember waiting. This was like probably in October, early October, when the Green Ranger toy first came out, when he was packed with the Dragon Zord, and we went to a KB Toys and waited at KB Toys for 3 hours while they were unloading trucks. And when they unloaded the Rangers and from the box, it was like pre Walmart. This was like again, this is like mid, early '90s. It was like a Walmart Black Friday rush of people like ripping the box to get the Rangers that they wanted. And my brother was able to grab the Green Ranger. By the time I got pushed myself in there to get to where the Rangers toys were at, I was only able to get the black and the blue. So I got the black and the blue. My brother got the green, and with the Dragon Zord. Hated his ass for that too. But still, we were able to get them. But it's the Green Ranger. Who didn't want to be the Green Ranger? It was a thing. So uh, yeah. And when I said that Kevin Connery had a long line except for one person, that person was Jason David Frank. His line was always wrapped, no matter what. It was he was constantly signing, constantly dealing with fans, constantly talking to everybody, shaking hands, high fives, taking pictures, giving stories, doing all of that. He would go the extra mile for his fans, and I got to meet him a few times, uh, and he was always super nice. He was always really cool about it. I got to meet him at the 20, I think 2013, 2014 Alamo City Comic Con, or was it Austin? I forget which one it was, but we drove. Me and Jen drove up there with a friend of ours, uh, and I got to wait in line to meet him. I had an MMA flyer that he fought in Houston from 3 years before. That I said, hey, I bought this with the hopes to get an autograph, but I was told that I couldn't get an autograph because it didn't have uh, the expensive seats. And he looked at it and he started laughing. He said, "Oh man, I remember this. I remember this fight. This guy only lasted like 30 seconds against my power." And he started doing the evil laugh and everything. I'm like, "Oh, dude, that's awesome." And then I got him to autograph Megazord versus Godzilla print that I had. Uh, that was really cool too. And he laughed about that. He said, "This is really cool." He's like, "Hey, you got to get this person, this person, this person's autograph. They'll be in Houston soon." Like, he was just really cool to talk to.
I
So
and the thing about Jason David Frank, like, and it's funny because they, you know, the expression, you know, give people their flowers while they're still around to smell them.
yeah,
Even before he, like, you know, just scrolling through Twitter and, you know, in everything that I like pop culture, the one consistent thing was he was always happy to do what he did. He was never the guy to sell out. Like, even seeing the testimonies from people on Facebook,
yeah,
Instagram, Reddit, like saying, oh, I had 6 cards, he signed all 6, and he was genuine. And like, they even had that video where he's like, hey, if the person is standing in line complaining about their position and they do not deserve to be called your hero, like,
yeah,
he was one of the most humblest guys. And the crazy thing is, anytime people would hit him up like, "Hey, I got this fan film I'm doing. Can I get your permission?"
yeah.
And it's instead of saying, "Oh, don't even use the footage. I'll show up," or you know, he do like the products. Even the Bang Studios comic book, they based it
Yeah,
directly by him, whereas the other characters were kind of like that Avengers offshoot, where it's like, oh, you can't really use their image, but you can use their likeness in a way.
yeah,
And then when he used the Lord, like the Break the Grid storyline, and he was like the alternate version, he cosplayed that. Like the guy was in everything 100%. And when they contacted him for like the reunion shows and like the
mhm.
big team ups and all that,
He
he
showed
looked
up.
good. he'd show up every time, saying, "Oh, I want this," and happy.
It was cool to see. I think the first one the first one that he showed up for was Scorpion versus the White Ranger, where he showed up because he didn't think it was really him until he took the helmet off. You're like, holy shit, it's really him. Then he showed up for the sequel, Ryu versus the Green Ranger for Bat in the Sun, and it's like, he's really doing this. And they even redesigned the Green Ranger suit to make it kind of non-canon but canon in a way that Saban was okay with it. So, he did everything for his fans. He really did. Uh, and it's just a sad loss to see how he went out. And it feels like I'm repeating myself almost a year ago or a little over a year ago from today that, if you do need help, seek it out. Don't be afraid to ask, and, try to find someone to help you. My recommendation is don't go to somebody that you know, go to somebody that you don't know to talk it out. Because if you go to somebody that you know, chances are they're just going to try to tell you what they want you to do, what they think that you should do based on their opinion of you. Go to somebody that you don't know. Talk to a stranger. That's my tip for that. And also for the people who are posting out, I see a lot of people posting, if you need help, talk to this person. I'm here for you. I'm here for you. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. Fuck those people. Here's why. Most of those people are the reason why other people are depressed. They're the reasons why they're causing it. Those are the shitheads who are doing those things. They're
Yeah,
the ones who are causing that nonsense. And then they want to be a helping shoulder when in reality, they're the ones causing people to get depressed that way.
and just to branch off that, it's like that weak virtue signal, and like, oh
Yeah.
yeah, I'll be here for you, and then they talk to you, and then like they listen, and then they go back to the wife to be like, oh, so and so,
Yeah.
can't you believe it? And then it's just, and the thing is, Mike Tyson has a great quote from Joe Rogan podcast that he said, "It's a lonely neighborhood up there, and you're the only one up there."
Yeah.
Like,
Very much true.
because at
Very
the end
much
of the
true.
day, first and last person you talk to is yourself.
Very much true. I know so many paper tigers who offer that shoulder to as a help to help people out on, but on the same time, that shoulder also carries a knife in the hand that are stabbing you in the back. So I see it all the time. People posting it. There are some true people that I do see want to help, but there are other people who are just as greedy and scandalous as anything, and they're the cancer of why people take themselves out. And it's sad to say that, and it's sad to see it happen. So yeah, get help, but go talk to somebody that you don't know. That way you'll get a non-biased, un you know unemotional opinion from somebody that is what that could help you out to a better place. So
And the thing is too, it's so I work in retail and I come across a lot of people.
mhm.
And in my times, there's been times where I've seen someone, I'm just like, "Hey, how's it going? I hope you have a great day." "Oh yeah, I like your hat." Just simple,
Yeah,
hi and bye. And then like months later, they'll come back and they'll be like, "Hey, remember that day? I had a really tough time. I remember you, man. You were great." And I don't know the whole story, and then I'm just like, "Oh damn." And then sometimes too, like it's like you said, you talk to a complete stranger or someone,
yeah,
and it feels good because you get
yeah. It
to
does.
word vomit, and if it comes out weird, like, or something, you
It
just like
does.
it does like that. So that's one thing, and it's tough when they say, like, the old saying, "Don't meet your heroes."
Yeah,
Jason David Frank was the one where you wanted to meet your hero because that guy
yeah.
was, and more power to him, but, like, living with that and dealing with that because, he had the world in his hands. We don't know,
Mhm.
there, whatever happened,
Whatever happened happened. I'm not blaming anybody.
and the
Um,
one thing is, if you're a genuine fan, be a genuine fan. If you have his signature, you know, treat it like a loom, keep it up, hang it wherever, but don't fucking capitalize on the man's death.
don't
And
do it.
like that's the most scumbaggiest shit ever. Like I've looked online, even like at my local comic book shop, there's some stuff where there's like an influx of all that, and I'm just like, dude, like
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
it's it's one it's one thing if he was like in his 80s or like nine, because then it's like, well, we don't have that anymore. He's on his way out, but it's like It's real scumbag shit. And if you're
It is.
buying in, and if you're really buying into it to be like, oh, I'm gonna cash out on these, it's just like, where the fuck were you day one then? Because if you were really about it, you would have already sold it. But just to capitalize on someone, that's just real scumbag shit, especially under these circumstances.
It really is. It definitely really is. Um, yeah, I just I it sucks. I know that there's a few pop groups I'm a part of, another collectible groups I'm a part of, where they're like, okay, PSA, you cannot sell or trade anything from Batman the Animated Series for the next 4 weeks. You cannot trade or sell anything from the Green Ranger, White Ranger, Red Ranger, all these Rangers for the next 4 to 6 weeks to try to prevent that. So I know that's a thing. Uh, I don't have many Green Ranger things left because I purged a lot of my Green Ranger stuff a few years ago, which now I'm regretting. But I do have the pop. I do got like a little mini Dragon Zord, and those things I'm going to chart. Those things I'm going to cherish. Those things I'm going to hang on to until I demise. So, uh, but don't be that person that's looking just to resell to capitalize off somebody's death.
I think I think what this should what I mean, I know it would take a lot as far as people with, in kind of hindsight 2020, but I think the main thing is like if someone really is a genuine fan and you want to reach out and be like, hey, listen, I'm gonna give it to you at base price because I know
Yeah,
you're a fan. Like, but if like I said, don't collect coin on the cemetery, you know?
no, you don't want to do that. You definitely don't want to do that. Um,
And yeah, like I said, like so, and to anyone else, like as far as like enjoying your fandom and celebrating your fandom and something, do it all the way up, man. Go to the conventions, let these people know that you're really there for them, and just really do it up. Don't be afraid to fly that flag because you never know when they need to hear, or just and also to the other people that are saying like, the whole fan challenge bullshit where it's like, oh, you weren't a fan until you died, blah 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 blah, you're not a real day one, I watched 660 episodes. No, just
uh,
if you like it, you like it.
yeah. So jumping from that, I mean, well, let's end that with rest in peace, Kevin Conroy, rest in peace, Jason David Frank, to all the to all the fans, the family, everyone, condolences, and it's been great to see the love and outpour for both of these people shown throughout social media. Uh, if you don't want to cry, I would say stay away from Amy Jo Johnson's posts on Instagram, stay away from Walter Jones' posts on Instagram, and stay away from his daughter's posts on Instagram because those will affect you
Oh,
dearly.
Tara Strong's too.
I haven't seen Tara Strong's.
Yeah, so hers was about Kevin Conroy. I was
About,
just like, oh,
uh, but I think Jenna Franks, hers was. I, as a father myself, um, to have her talk to her dad, tears. I couldn't get through it. It was sad. So going from that tragedy to, I don't know, it could be considered a tragedy. It could be considered a success, depending on how you look at it and how much of a, depending what tribe of fan you are. Let's talk about some full gear.
let's carry on, my wayward
Hey.
son.
So this pay-per-view happened this past weekend. uh, I was hyped for it because of the return of the elite, but also I was interested in some matches. I'm not gonna lie, uh, I enjoy all aspects of wrestling. I don't belong to the tribe of AEW. I don't belong to the tribe of WWE. I enjoy everything. I'll watch everything. I wear every merch thing. I've got my half my closet's AEW, or take it back. Half my closet's WWE. 30% is probably AEW, and then the rest is indie people that I know. So that's how I am. Or other indie, other impact, something like that. So that's how my closet is with wrestling shirts. But I was hyped for Full Gear. I'm a fan of uh, the Bucks and the Elite and Omega. I'm a fan of Best Friends, Brian Cage, Ricky Starks. I'm a fan of most of these people because I enjoy their entertainment. I enjoy their character. I'm not afraid to admit that. So I ordered it. Me and the family watched together. For the most part, the kids had to go to bed. So we stayed up to watch the rest of it. The kids watched it again the next day. Um, I enjoyed it overall. I had a lot of fun watching it. So, what are your non-spoilerly thoughts of this pay per view?
Overall, um I didn't know what to expect because I watch a lot more WWE than AEW just because
Yeah.
how my schedule works. So I usually have Mondays off. But I wasn't sure what they were doing with the whole like rewind thing with the Bucks and the whole vanishing because I'm like, what the hell are they gonna do with this? And then like everything going into it was just a lot of speculation and guessing.
Hmm.
And as far as execution, before we really get into it, it was a lot better than expected. My
Yeah.
only major complaint, as with all AEW pay per views, is the fucking length. Like they need to they gotta get it, like, or even if like I don't want to call anyone else less than or anything like that as
Yeah.
far as an undercard, but I feel like the first hour outside of like the main matches should
Hmm.
be on TBS, or even if they get a deal with HBO Max, because I know that's through Warner and
Okay.
TNT. And then also just the like I understand we get one every 5 or 6 weeks or whatever for a pay-per-view.
Yeah.
The pricing sometimes kicks me in the ass because I'm like, what if this pay-per-view is mid, you know?
Well, I mean, WWE Network, or at the time for network, you're paying $10 a month, right?
Hmm.
That's $120 plus taxes a year, right?
Yeah.
About 120 plus taxes. So I think the most I was charged is like 127, I think, after taxes and stuff like that.
I'm only laughing because Eric Hamilton, shout out to Slamilton, taught me back when the network you used to be able to do this. You get the credit card, you just change one number, you change the email, you get your free month.
Yeah,
Just do that 12 times.
you could do that too. Um,
Oh man.
but the pay-per-views, I mean, when the first 2 years of AEW, the pay-per-views were it was 30 for the basic, and I think it was 70 for the HD. They've got rid of both of them. Now it's only HD, and you're paying 50 per pay-per-view. To which, if you invite friends over and they kick in $10 to watch, you're getting it covered. You're helping get it covered. So I can afford that. I can. Uh, as for the lead into the show, the matches I watch, so I do a lot of fast forwarding, mainly through Raw, mainly through Impact lately. I enjoy Dynamite. I enjoy SmackDown. I enjoy New Japan, Global World, New Japan. Those are my three mains. Those are my three things. Uh, NXT, I try watching it, but I just can't get into it. I've tried so hard. I don't like Carmelo Hayes. I don't like that guy who looks like the shaved caveman from the Geico commercials. um, was it Von Wagner? I think his name is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, Grayson Waller, I cannot stand. It's just I'm not into them. I'm just not into half the talent they got there. Uh, what's her name? Wendy Chu. She's entertaining. Well, she's like the female Orange Cassidy sort of, but with
Yeah.
narcolepsy.
Yeah,
She's
Wendy Choo.
entertaining.
I love
She
Nikita Lyons, but that's that's
well,
the
I
man.
mean,
You know, eh,
don't you mean thick Keto Lidens?
oh
So
man, that is a thick bowl of grits right there.
she she
Um,
she, she is yeah, she got the grits.
Zoe
So
Zoe Stark, but I feel like NXT, as far as just to kind of finish off this tangent, is like if you told someone, "Hey, you only got a half hour to go through WWE's library, try and
mhm.
recite it from memory and write it back," and it's just like, what do you got? Oh, there's this girl that sleeps. She falls asleep. There's a girl with a big butt, and there's flippity doos and magic and Nickelodeon colors. Kids Choice Awards stage done.
Oh, and Steiner Jr. You have Steiner Jr. too.
Yeah, but Dijak, spoiler alert, he came back and he's repackaged as the new Big Boss Man, so that's interesting.
Was he handcuffing people, beating them with a nightstick?
He just showed up with the glasses, a dark jacket, and like a big like jail cell, and like beat the crap out of Wesley. So that's gonna be interesting how they go from there.
They should just repackage him as like the son of the one man gang and just have him do that. Have him grow a beard. Just have him do that. Dijak, the gang member, the Dijak gang. Just have him do that. That's all I want to see.
But
But to get back to the pay per view,
mhm.
the lead up to it, uh, there really wasn't much outside of MJF versus Mox. That was like the big selling point for this pay per view. But let's be honest, that was the selling point. The rumors, or not the rumors, because it was confirmed before the show, or the on the go home show was confirmed. But the 6-man tag and the title match, those were the two main draws for this pay per view. That's where it was. Overall, uh, that's what sold me. I wanted to see all that. I wanted to see the most of the matches. I'm like, okay, let's do it, and I ordered it. But storyline wise, we can kind of get into it as we discuss the matches, and I can kind of explain it to you, or give you the heads up of what was going on from my perspective, if you didn't really watch a lot of it due to scheduling.
Yeah, I was watching it on a phone. Meanwhile, watching footage and just doing my real job and just kind of figuring things out. Oh, sorry
Oh,
about that.
oh, you're getting paged,
Yeah,
Doctor Rito, Doctor Rito.
no, it's fine. That's just a little reminder I always have at 11. That's my I need to be in bed by 11 alarm.
Oh,
But
okay,
tomorrow, but that's no neither here nor there. We staying up late night,
yeah,
baby.
we do it.
But
So So first matchup, we got the best. This is the I think the 5-on-5
yep.
best friends versus the factory. And leading up to this match, we all know the best friends: Chucky T, Trent Beretta, Orange Cassidy. They brought in Rocky Romero, and the fifth member was Danhausen. So we know that's the best friends. And we have the factory, who is QT Marshall, uh, former Aaron Bailey, now Aaron Solo, because they broke up. Lee Johnson, Nick Camarado, and Cole Carter. So the week before, or the go home show, QT Marshall gives Danhausen a pile driver on the steel steps, taking him out. So now it's a 4-on-5 going into the pay per view. And did they do any kind of warning or build up to this thing? No, they did not. How well then? How would you know what was going to happen? Social media. Danhausen had been posting videos of his older gimmick where he was more evil. He posted pictures of Pazuzu from The Exorcist. And then metal print t-shirt maker, Holy Mountain Printing Co. Showed off some graphics of evil Danhausen. So that kind of led to speculation that, oh, we're finally getting very evil Danhausen to show up. They do their match. Halfway through it, QT Marshall's teasing a pile driver to Orange Cassidy on the steel steps. What happens? We get very evil Danhausen, which was great. He brought out his jar of teeth. He brought out his metal spike, and pretty much we got the Danhausen that we've always wanted to see since he got signed by AEW. So, what did you think of that match? Okay, he is
There we go. Sorry about
there. You
that.
go.
Just
It's
just
okay.
had to just had to wrestle with the charger.
No problem.
Um, what I thought about it as far as Danhausen and just that match, like just him showing up, I was just like, oh shit, he actually did it because I remember. So there's another podcast that I'm pretty much like the flag bearer for. It's called Wrestle Rap. He
Mm-hmm.
was a guest on it, and I was able to sit in on the interview,
Yeah.
and it was so weird seeing him like outside of character and like
Yeah.
just it was strange because I'm like, oh, who? Like, it took me a second because he's like, oh, I got this guy. He's coming in. You might know him. And I was like, who is he? I was like, it's a surprise. And I see this white guy just sitting in the chair. I'm like, who the hell is this guy? And then he's just like, oh, it's Dan. And I was like, oh. And then he did the voice, and I started laughing. And then he was showing like pictures as he was like, so he has Polaroids
Mm-hmm.
with like like the plastic over him and the blood and just the
Yeah.
evil look. And I was just like, oh wow, this was something, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
So I liked it. He showed up with the teeth and the big spike, and like it was funny too because it was like Taz was like, "Oh, what the hell's going on?" And then it was incredible. So the best thing that AEW does, better than WWE, is really tailored to the social media aspect and the video aspect of
Mm-hmm.
everything. Where it's like, hey, we're not going to tell you what's going on, but we're going to show you in a way that if you seek it, you're going to find it. You know?
Yeah. And we got evil Danhausen, and he did the teeth bit, which everybody's been dying to see for the last year. They've been wanting him to do the teeth bit. It wasn't done to Adam Cole, which everybody hoped that he would because Britt Baker. but he did it, and then he nailed QT Marshall with the spike, and it was great to see that. I love the new music. Uh, it wasn't corny, it wasn't tequila, so it was overall pretty good. So I really enjoyed that match. I thought it was a lot of fun, really, for a 10 man. So next up, we got Ricky Starks versus Brian Cage, and this was what, one of the quarterfinals for
Yep.
the thing. Um, Listen, I like Ricky Starks. He's great, energetic, all that. But you're telling me this guy beat Brian Cage, even in scripted win? He's going to beat Brian. He's going to beat Brian Cage.
Yeah, it's that AB booking, man.
Yeah.
The thing is, like, Ricky Starks. Here's the thing, Ricky Starks. Like, if you took what Rock had in charisma and talent and mic skill, and then you just took that, threw it in the laundry, and let it shrink, and then take that out, that's what you
No.
get, Ricky Starks.
No. I saw. Okay, if you take Rock's personality and stuffed it into the body of Gregory Helms or Shane Helms, you get Ricky Starks.
Yes, yes.
You did the 10-year challenge with Ricky Starks and Hurricane Helms. They're the same person,
Yeah.
even down to the accent. They're the same person. But again, I'm local to Ricky Starks' territory, where he would tour through Texas and tour through Louisiana and tour through the southern areas. Um, I'm a fan, but this is Brian Cage. This is a big guy, and this is one of those instances I think Brian Cage should have won, because the next match would have been uh, Ethan Page versus Brian Cage, which would have been a good match. I mean, I'm not saying that he didn't have one tonight with Ethan Page, but believability, Cage should have won. That's just my opinion. Cage should have won.
It's you know what it is though. You're it's from the realm of, so this new old age wrestling where, the Daniel Bryans and the CM Punks of the world,
Hmm.
the little guy, they get over and they do their thing and they win and
Yeah,
they overcome. David Goliath's story, tale as old as time.
yeah.
I think with Brian Cage is, the guy is what you think a WWE guy would be. Like, why hasn't Vince, you get what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
it's a Braun Strowman effect. It's like, well, you got this big guy. Well, what else can he do? Well, he's big. So and it's the marketability. Like, it's not the land of the giants anymore,
Yeah.
unfortunately. You're almost
True.
there, but you're not.
Yeah, I mean, he's built like Brock Lesnar, but he's able to do moonsaults and stuff though. Unlike Brock Lesnar, and this guy won't crash on his face when he does a moonsault. So
Yeah, we'll
he's
see.
well, maybe. I mean, this guy loves Wolverine. That's all you need. That's all you need in life. Someone who loves Wolverine, who can grow the sideburns. That's all you need. So, uh, match was okay. Again, I would have preferred Cage to win, but it was still entertaining. I enjoyed it. What'd you think?
It was a good match. I saw bits and pieces of it because I was in the realm of possibility, like, oh, Brian Cage is going to squash this dude. It's done. It's over. Whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm filing paperwork, and I look up, and I'm like, oh shit! So I rewound it. I was like, okay, I'm with it.
Yeah, it it is what it is. So next up, we had Eddie Kingston versus Akiyama, who a lot of New Japan fans love this match. Um, this During this match, I'm going to be honest with you. I was leveling up. I play a game called the Pop Blitz, Funko Pop Blitz on my phone, and I was trying to level up my Scare Glow character to try to get the next full effect on him. So I didn't really pay attention to this match at all, but I did pay attention to his promo afterwards, where pretty much it sounded like Kingston was just killing time before the pay per view started, and he didn't care what he was saying. So uh, I can't really give an opinion on the match itself. It happened. Didn't really care to see it. But what are your thoughts then if you saw it?
So it was. What's funny, and no, Eddie Kingston, coolest guy. I've met him on numerous occasions
Hmm.
here in up north for Beyond Wrestling. Um, my printer, it's funny because when you're auditing, you got to print and check and all that.
Yeah.
One of my printers ran out of toner, so I was just like, oh, I gotta stop this Ricky Starks match and stop and go. And I got up and I was gone for like 20 minutes, and I came back to Twitter on my laptop, and I'm looking, I'm like, Yeah, what is everyone talking about Eddie Kingston about? Like, what was this promo everyone was like so big on? Because they're like, oh, Eddie Kingston fucking rules, which he does, but I just didn't know what he said.
he, he was ripping into New Jersey. He was just ripping into them for the most part, and he was trying to fill time, so he just gave profanity based promo about enjoying the show. Thank you for coming out. I've got like 10 minutes to kill. Wait, I got to wrap it up in three. Okay, okay. He's telling me to go. He tell me I need to hurry up. And he's thanking the fans. Uh, fuck. What did he say? Like he said, fuck the Jets or something like that. So it was funny. It was just funny. He didn't care where he was at, and he told the crowd to go f themselves because they were booing him because he's New York, and they're Jersey.
Uh,
So
yeah, no, he's as airy as bit real as he is. Like, I remember a little story. I went to go to a Beyond show, and after that, we went to the bar downstairs, and he's sitting there favoring his arm, and I was just like, "Oh, you got a stinger there, pinched nerve?" And he looked at me, and goes, "What are you, a fucking doctor?" And I was like, "No, no, I just assumed." He goes, "I'm fucking with you." He goes, "Yeah, good point." And I was like, "Oh, what are you drinking?" And I bought him a beer, and we chopped it up probably for like 20 minutes. It was me, him, Yuta,
mhm.
and Nick Gage. So that was like,
Oh
actually,
man.
I have the photo somewhere. I'll post it at some point because I always post it around this time. It is my favorite photo in the world because you see these two tough guys and you see me standing there, and then you see Willer Yuta's head in the corner, like, "Hey, what's up?"
Nick Gage. I hear that a lot of the a lot of the hosts on What's Wrong with Wrestling love that guy.
All fucking day, bro. Nah, he
Gang, 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 gang.
gang. Eric Hamilton. Listen, Eric, where were you this fucking week? But he posted the milk carton, so which was funny. Um, he does a really good MDK, which pops me every time I hear it.
Oh man, but but yeah, that match, Kings. Yeah, the match again. I don't remember much of the match, but I remember this promo afterwards. Entertaining. It happened. So let's go from there. Next up, we have the actual first match of the pay per view, not the pre show, with Jungle Boy versus Luchasaurus in the cage match. Um, I didn't know really what to expect from this match because again, we're kind of used to seeing Jungle Boy just kind of. I don't want to say he's always been kind of protected or safe, but he this was a different match for him. I don't think he's ever been in like a hardcore type cage match before where he was bleeding and everything else. And from what I remember hearing about, Luchasaurus being injured going into this match, him competing with his injury, and then they put on a damn good match. It was really great. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. My kids were jumping up and down, cheering for Jungle Boy. Wanting him to win, wanting him to beat Luchasaurus. So they got into it. I enjoyed the match. I thought it was great. What were your thoughts?
Jungle Boy became Jungle Man because listen, I don't know if it was the blade job or whatever worked out, but that man got color. He
He
got,
did.
like, it was like whatever the Muda scale is or whatever that is, he was right up there because when I saw it, I was like, oh shit, like they're really going in. And listen,
Yeah.
that table was strong as fuck because when they both went through, it was just like, and then
Yeah. Then when yeah. So for color levels, I think there are different scales. You start off low with Moxley, then the next step up is Cody Rhodes, then the next step up, Dusty Rhodes, then the next step up, Ric Flair, then the next step up after that, Necro Butcher.
yep.
So those I think those are the steps that you take of people blading and getting color.
I think,
And
yeah, it's incredible. And with Jungle Boy, I mean, like, the name got to go. He got to be like, Jungle Jack Perry or Jumping Jack Perry, because he's gonna eventually gonna
yeah,
drop that gimmick and get serious because it's like, and I know he's still young, and as someone who is the son of a 90210 star, it's like,
yeah.
on paper it's like, oh, this guy, no, the guy fucking goes. He just, as far as
Well,
his TV presentation and time, he needs a little more, like, he I don't know if it's a mouthpiece or something, because when he cuts a promo, it's just like, it's the Dominic effect where it's like, I'm gonna beat you. yeah, I'm Jungle Boy. It's just like, come on, dude.
So you're saying he needs a William Regal,
Let's
or
later in the show we'll get on that
okay,
because
or maybe a Prince Nana,
yeah, exactly.
a Prince Nana. I mean, well, during the media scrum, which I watched because I kept hearing people go, "Oh, this and this happened." Um, they kept referring him to or as Jungle Jack. They kept saying Jungle Jack. It's like, okay, that's a good name. That would be a good evolution to his character. But at the same time, you got Shawn Michaels being a 50-year-old man being still be called HBK. So he's no longer a kid. I mean, his cross eyes are older than most audiences now. So
I mean, it's
Undertaker.
Undertaker. I I think, but here's the difference: is HBK is just the letters. You don't really, and it's the Heartbreak Kid. It's not like it's like the sexy boy because clearly
They
he's
still play
not.
that when he comes out,
Yeah, but he's a sexy boy.
but he's no longer a boy.
Yeah.
He's got kids.
I'm just a sexy man, sexy man. I'm an all right guy.
I mean, you saw had the Hardy Boys come out to their song wearing their kickwear, wearing their Jinko jeans,
The UFO pants.
the UFO pants. They still got the club shirts on with the little barbed wire on the arms,
It's, well,
the
speaking
tribal
of
on the
that,
arms.
going from the Hardy Boys to a team that was influenced by the Hardy Boys. It was listen. It's all about setup. I was on my lunch during this match or my
Okay,
late dinner. The presentation, the music, and just carry on my wayward son. And it's just like, oh, they're actually fucking doing this.
and the silhouette too. The
Yeah,
silhouettes,
dude, it was
amazing.
something out of a video game. It was incredible.
It was. It was. I mean, so with this one, the setup was uh, basically they would show commercials every week for the last 4 or 5 weeks of basically the elite getting erased out of AEW history. All their matches, their debuts, their AEW announcement scrum, them like it's the Bucks and Omega getting kind of erased out of history. That was kind of their leading up to that. So okay, they're coming back. We know they're coming back, and they did the countdown again. Which, if you're a big fan of BTE, when they were getting ready to announce AEW, they did a countdown at the end. At the end of every episode, there was a countdown. Same thing here. There was a countdown. Instead of them being, written, them coming back to AEW, they're just getting written out. So that was interesting to see. But honestly, when they had Pac at the Go Home show, kind of kill 5 minutes for them to show the final match graphic, they didn't need to do that. Pac wins the match, gets on the mic and says, "We're doing an open challenge this Saturday. We've heard rumors, we've seen things. We want to fight. We want to battle for these belts. Leave it as that. Don't announce them. Let the hype build. Get that CM Punk, rumor going. Get that rumor going. Then when you get to the match, Death Triangle comes out first. You're like, okay, who's it going to be? Who's it going to be? Then you hear Carry On My Wayward Son. You see the silhouettes. That's a bigger pop. That was still a good pop when they came out, but there could have been a bigger pop without that, knowledge beforehand.
And
But
and that's the thing too, because I was just like, oh shit, like because when they played, I was just like, wait a minute, and I heard the sound, I was just like, who's that? And then I was like, oh no shit.
yeah,
So it was interesting, but like you said, that's a proper way to do it. But Tony Khan got to get those pay-per-view.
he's
You
got to get
know,
the buys in. He's got to get those pre-buys in.
Bye,
So,
bye, no, oh God.
so do you believe that the Wayward Song lyrics, that the way they chose to do the song, was a dig at CM Punk?
I honestly don't know because the thing with the Elite and the Bucks,
Mm-hmm.
they they move within a veil over
Yeah.
the real world and what's real and fake. Like
Mm-hmm.
they know how to keep kayfabe alive, but still let it die. But still, it's
Yes.
it's it's a tightrope effect because they'll make one comment on the thing and be like, oh, what's going on? You watch on BT and you see a guy in a chick magnet shirt and it's like, oh, fuck you, dude. And it's just like, what happened? Oh, he fucked up my order. Oh, okay. Is it related to? No, I just hated that guy.
So I say that because since the pay per view, people have come out and said, "Oh, that's a dig at CM Punk." The song lyrics are a dig at CM Punk. That CM Punk has done. He's did this and this. And as a person who watches BTE, who has been watching BETE since before the infamous Cody versus Kenny match at Super Card of Honor, every so often they'll make a comment about they want to come out to Kansas. They've been wanting to come out to Wayward Sun for years. When they left the Bullet Club and they were kicked out of the Bullet Club, they wanted to come out to Wayward Sun to have a match with Tama Tonga, Tongaloa, and Jay White. They wanted to have a 3 versus 3 with them. Didn't happen, but they kept saying that they want to come out to Wayward Sun. So there's a lot of people who just hate the Bucks and hate the Elite, hate Omega, that are saying that they're taking a dig without even realizing this has been a building thing, that they've always wanted to come out to that song as a trio, as the Elite. So Kenny has been open about being a big fan of oh, what the hell is it called? Supernatural, the Winchester brothers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's a big fan of that show. That's a main theme of that show. So that would make sense. But, you have people who like to believe a certain 70s and 80s former booker who is now an angry radio host, and his hate for gymnastics, and they just want to believe that. So kind of sucks.
Sometimes they say, the truth is stranger than fiction because it's
Yeah.
like, it just the universe always somehow finds a way because it's like, and the Bucks. Here's the thing: the Bucks are gonna lean into it and they'll be like, "Hey, this is great. This is good heat. This is gonna,
Yep.
like." And as we talk later about what happened, like a quick recap of what happened later tonight, it's just like those guys know how to work it. And
They do.
Kenny, he returned like he. I'm not saying he needed this time off, but when he first came back, he was looking a little hurt, and he was wrestling with like pretty much almost like a broken neck. I remember, or like
Yeah.
something weird like that.
Yeah.
So it was good to see the Bucks in the league back. Death
At hundred
Triangle
percent. At hundred
and
percent.
Death Triangle. Here's the thing: those guys are no slouches. Like they could play the whole, "Oh, I'm not a paper champion." Like those guys know how to work. Even Pac decided to drop a title and say, "Oh, you know what? Let's focus on this and get a best of
Yeah.
7 series." So it's like, okay, that's the way it should happen because instead of doing the same match every week and rematch after rematch and whatnot, you
Yep.
you do it right. It's the best of 7 series because it's like, well, how the hell they're gonna ramp it up? And the Bucks and Death Triangle or even the Lucha Bros, those guys know how to fucking work. They're the
They do.
perfect dance partners. And if you're saying you don't like flippity do bullshit, hey, skip the match because those guys work.
I'll just say this as like a kind of a final rant for this thing before we move into the next match. What I hate the most are the WWE stands, and I'll just straight up say it: WWE stands who come out and say, "I hate the flippy dippy stuff. I hate the flippy dippy matches, this and this," and then they cream their pants whenever Rey Mysterio comes out or whenever Ricochet comes out. I remember whenever Triple H was in charge, he's back to in power again, and people were like, "Oh, I hate that flippy dippy shit. I hate that. Blah blah this and this." Ricochet comes back to Raw. Oh my God, it's Ricochet. Like, really, bitch?
Oh yeah, and
Really?
then or Logan Paul flying across the thing. It's like, oh, this is a great. It's just like, come on, dude. Like,
Really? I mean, did you watch SmackDown in the early 2000s when Rey Mysterio debuted, where half of his matches were like 15 Hurricane Ranas in one match, and he won? I mean, come on, man. It's not that you don't like flippy dippy stuff. You just don't like anything outside of WWE. That's what
it,
it is.
and it's the realm of familiarity, as they say.
Yeah. But I really enjoyed this match. It was fun. I was not expecting the outcome of who won to happen. I thought the Elite were going to win. They did not. I was surprised. I was really
Mhm.
surprised. And I think that's what they're supposed to do. They're supposed to surprise you to make you tune in to see what happens. And that's what they did. So really enjoyed that match. I loved it. The kids loved it too. So that's it on that one.
So
N-
next was Jade Cargill versus
no, no,
uh
no, no, no. It was Chitara. versus Nyla Rose. The
Oh shit.
Thundercats.
Oh,
She
sorry.
can she came out as a Thundercat for that
Yes.
match.
Yeah, that was cool. All right, I was just like, what?
Yeah, she was a Thundercat hoe, all right. So, yeah,
Oh, we already
that.
knew the outcome of this match, man.
Oh yeah,
This
we are.
was
Yeah, we knew that. We knew what was going to happen. Great match. For I mean, they've really let Nyla kind of come out of her shell and be herself, to be the way she is on Twitter, which is great. I love that. She's finally able to just, you know, be herself. That's
I
all she
like
needs to do.
I liked it too because it wasn't booked as like, oh, I'm a badass, I'm a beat your ass, and it's just like, hey, we got one of those on Raw. Her name is Nia Jax. Like, it's just like, it's none of that monster bullshit. It's
No,
more personality. It's more,
yeah.
and just to pair her with Vicky, it's like, it's incredible. And what I liked is she had the "I'm your mommy" and the lowrider, like, and just
Yeah.
to confirm, it was not a Rhea Ripley T-shirt. There
It
was
wasn't. It was a Vicky Guerrero Pro Wrestling Tees T-shirt.
exactly. So it's just like, hey, she's a girl, and incredible, that they still have that like semi-working relationship to be
Yep.
like, hey, this is okay. We're gonna do this. Like,
Yep.
I feel like Rey Mysterio like bridges the gap between AEW and WWE very lightly, where he's like the last contact that they have.
Yeah. Yep. That is very true. But I will say this for Nyla Rose. 2 years ago, wasn't a fan, couldn't stand her. Ever since I started watching Ethan Page's toy hunt videos, and she's cameoed on them a few times, where she does the hunts with them, I'm like, holy shit, she's funny.
Oh
She is
yeah,
hilarious, and it was great to see that person that's on the toy hunts trying to transition over to her wrestling character and do it so flawlessly, do it so effortlessly. So the match was overall it was decent. I'd want to see another match between them two down the road because I think they could do better, uh, especially since both of them are known for being nerd fandoms. Seeing what they come up with next. I mean, honestly, I'm hoping Jade Cargill comes out as April O'Neil from the '80s animated
oh
TMNT show with the yellow
oh
jumpsuit.
oh God, this is bottom left, yes. Oh God,
And then, Nyla Rose, she's a big X-Men fan. She's a big fan of aliens and stuff like that. She's made a comment before on Ethan's Toy Hunts that she has gear in mind to have it look like a predator with like the claws, the fishnets and all that, the human skulls hanging from her waist and stuff like that. If she were able to do that and have her fight whatever Jade Cargill comes up with, that's like a nerd's dream, like a Comic
Tony
Con dream
Khan,
right there.
get the alien stomper now, real
Yes,
life one,
do it. Do it now.
do it now.
All right.
Um,
So yeah, the match was okay, but I want to see another match because I think they could do better.
yeah, flesh it out more.
So next up, we have the Fatal Four Way for the ROH Heavyweight Title with Danielson, Claudio, Sammy Guevara, and Chris Jericho. Um, the match was fun. I know a lot of people hated the fact that Sammy was in there because he's one of the younger guys versus all the other kind of vets that were in the match. But I think he added youth to it. I think he added some youth to it. And also the fact that people just want to see Sammy get beat up. They want to see Sammy hurt. And you got three other guys in there who work really stiff and who work really uh, hard with their attacks and punches and stuff like that, which kind of negates what Andrade was saying last month about Sammy Guevara, because he took all those hits, those chops and everything, and he's been working with Brian Danielson for the last 6 weeks, 4 weeks, and Danielson hits hard. From if you read his book and read Mox's book and everything, Danielson hits hard. He doesn't hold back, and Sammy's been working with him for the last several weeks, and I mean Andrade, I think you just went out of your contract, dude. Just go hang out around Braun Strowman. So
I think what it is with Sammy Guevara, great match by the way. Like Chris Jericho, that guy, he say what you want, what you feel about whatever personal beliefs and whatnot. And
yeah,
also shout outs to his Mass Singer promo. The worst kept secret in Mass Singer
yeah,
history.
yeah,
As soon as I heard it, I was like, oh, that's Jericho. My mom was like, how do you know? You didn't even watch that show. And I'm like, it's a wrestler, mom.
yeah,
But with Jericho, that guy, it seems like he always knows how to turn the clock back or really work with people
He
and just
does.
kind of prove people wrong. It's just like, oh, I'm not just that fat slob that looks like a mom that wrestles on Twitter. Like, it's not that anymore. The guy works. And then Sammy Guevara, and I hate to do the WWE comparison, Sammy Guevara is what Dominic Mysterio thinks he is.
Yes. Yes.
Because it's like, oh, flippity do, like, the guy will forever have, spot of the year for taking the diamond cutter off of a rope off of the ladder from Cody Rhodes.
Yep.
Like, that was the last match Cody Rhodes had on AEW, and I'm just like, yep, that's it, spot of the year.
Yep.
So the
I
guy
will
knows
agree
how
with
to
you on
move.
that.
Great theme song. Say what you want. The guy knows how to work with heat. Maybe in real life he's a piece of shit. Who knows? Whatever. But I mean, the guy knows how to go, and I respect that. If you could wrestle and you do good, I'll buy into it.
I'll say this: I've met Sammy randomly, not at a signing, at the post office. He was cool as hell. He was cool as hell. I still get shit from that from Gwen, from my daughter. I still get shit from that. She goes, "You met Sammy Guevara there. You didn't take me." It's like you didn't want to go. You didn't want to go.
Come to
You
Home
should
Depot with me. We might run into Hacksaw Jim Duncan.
go with the post office. Hey, you know what? You know what? We might run into somebody else at the post office. So who's your favorite? Heath Slater. Heath Slater probably works there. Let's go.
He got kids, man.
Yeah, kids. Keith Raines, baby. Uh,
Oh
he
man.
was cool. He was really cool. He talked a little bit. I got maybe about 2 minutes out of him just talking. Really
Oh
cool
wow.
guy,
Yeah.
down to earth, uh, really chill guy. So I get. I think the only hate people have is because they still feel better that he got engaged and then he left that engagement for somebody else. Who
Yeah. I
cares?
mean,
Who
yeah,
cares?
it's personal life, whatever. Like, you do what you do, and there's no malice there.
I mean,
Um,
those people don't matter in this relationship.
exactly.
They don't matter. So next up was one of the big. It was one of the many returns that people were hating on AEW for. And I remember reading like all of the comments about this next match between Soraya and Britt Baker. People were like, "Oh, Tony Khan's a clown. He's letting her wrestle. She's not fully checked. WWE wouldn't clear her. This and this. She's unsafe. Britt Baker's and all this garbage." Um, I listen to podcasts. I work 8 hours in an office. I have a office coworker that I share a room with that loves to listen to the same 10 rock songs over and over and over again. So I listen to podcasts to drown out my sorrows so I don't have to hear him. Okay. I listen to a lot of podcasts. But one of the things I listened to about two or 3 weeks ago was a Soraya interview. And what she said was that when Daniel Bryan came back, when Edge came back, she inquired about getting a test done to see if she can wrestle again. The WWE, their doctors, their physicians, they were all told to not test her. They were all told to not even give her the idea that she would get tested by them. So they were unwilling to do it. So when her contract expired, she got tested on her own and she was cleared. She said that she didn't just go to one doctor, she went to 7 different doctors just to get a majority same opinion. She said there's only one doctor that advised against her not doing it, but that one doctor, she said his experience in that was still being looked at or being reviewed or whatever.
Hmm.
But every other doctor that she visited gave her a passing test. They gave her all a passing test, and she was able to train. So she trained. She looked better than when she did on SmackDown. Paige here.
Yeah.
So I thought it was okay. I thought her first match back was decent. Definitely a lot of ring rust.
Oh yeah.
Definitely a lot of ring rust. But she was able to work it. She was able to do it and finish it, and no injuries as far as I know of. So, what were your thoughts?
So my thoughts on that was, as far as with the whole Paige Soraya situation,
Mm-hmm.
I think it was more like a PR thing because obviously, as leaks and everything, it's like
Yeah,
when you do a Google search. I mean, you do the Google search. I like to call it the China syndrome.
yeah, exactly,
Where it's like
exactly.
hey, listen, we know you could probably get a good redemption. you're sure that you could work and do great, but listen, at the end of the day, it's all about PR and whatever it is, and it happens. Where I feel like with AEW, it's more of an adult contemporary fan base, where it's like
Yes.
I feel like the youngest AEW fan outside of like the kids would probably be like 14-year-olds. So it's like attitude era almost. So it's one of those things where it's like, oh, it is what it is. And it's that day of age in wrestling where now, you got Paige Van Zant and everyone posting their links and doing the great things. So that's a great thing about Tony Khan. And then just going to, different doctors instead of going to the doctor that says, hey, everybody. She didn't have a Dr. Nick. So it's good. She did great. Like you said, ring rust was a thing, but she's there, even if it's like a quick
Hmm.
management for a scrum and quick filler. And I hate to use that word because it seems like it's a negative thing, but at the end of the day, enhancement talent and
Yeah.
filler, keeps
Yeah.
the seats moving and whatnot. So she did good. I definitely give it to her.
Yeah. She did good. Again, she looked miles better than how she looked a few years ago on SmackDown. She looked healthier. She looked happier. Uh, and good for her. I mean, hopefully over time she'll, you know, kind of sandblast that rust off and be who we should have gotten many years ago before that injury. So good for her. Next matchup is triple threat, which uh, honestly I was a little interested to see this match just because two out of three people I enjoy watching. I'm not a fan of Wardlow. Uh,
What?
I'm not.
What?
I'm
What?
not.
What? Why? Wardlow's the fucking. He's everything that Goldberg thinks he is, dude.
I'm just not a fan of Wardlow. I'm just not.
Oh, dude, you gotta watch his videos, man. When he talks about his action figure, like, I wasn't big on him either, but when he talked about I have an action figure, I'm like, oh, this guy's the fucking man, and this big meaty man bumping meat.
I'm a fan of Joe because TNA Mark from way back in the day. I like Powerhouse Hobbs. For some reason, he just reminds me of like, what if Debo became a professional wrestler,
He did. Devo was a professional wrestling.
but a good one, and he could see straight. Come on, Craig.
Come on, Greg.
But no,
Listen,
I mean Powerhouse Hobbs. He looks intimidating as hell, and when he would cameo in Ethan Page's Toy Hunt videos, and you find out he's a big Captain Planet fan, that he's collecting Captain Planet toys.
I want him to be Captain Planet now.
And when he used to wear the overalls, if you go back and watch those videos or the TV bits when he wore the overalls, you would see a Captain Planet figure in the pocket, the front pocket. Yeah,
No fucking way.
yeah. So Cobb's got me because he looks honestly he looks scary as hell. He's a
Yeah,
big dude, but he's super silly and goofy, and he's a toy collector.
that's freaking
And
incredible.
I wanted Hobbs to win. This is the one time I wanted Hobbs to win. And Joe won. That's great. It was cool to see Joe win again. I was really going for Hobbs, but
Oh
overall,
yeah.
it was a fun match to see big guys beat the hell out of each other. It was fun, but I was really going for Hobbs. So, what'd you think?
Oh, dude, the match was great. I didn't have any slow spots or anything like that.
It did not.
Big meaty man bumping meat, always great. You know what it is? It was a good match, and the outcome was definitely unexpected because I'm sitting here, I'm just like, oh, Joe's gonna get squashed. They're gonna, and then it's just like, hey, I ain't the only Samoan with 2 titles. Like, it was good. I was happy. It was a swerve. Maybe they're setting up Wardlow versus. We'll go down that line later,
Yeah,
but I think that's probably the end game at that point. But it's looking good. I was very happy with the outcome. The match was definitely one of my favorite matches on the card, to say the least, because I was on my second break at that time, so it was good. I actually got to enjoy it.
but yeah, I mean, big guys, big guys beating the hell out of each other. Big slobber knocker. Yeah, I still wanted Hobbs to win, but it was fun. It was a lot of fun. So yeah, nothing to hate, nothing to praise for me.
Indifferent, yeah.
Yeah. So next up we have Sting and Darby Allin versus Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal, or AKA the TNA match plus Darby. Uh, I thought this match was fun. I know people still give shit on Sting for competing. um, and his age. But I mean, the people complaining are the same people who praise the Undertaker for wrestling once a year for like the last 8 years. So if Sting can still go for his age and still get up in the morning the next day to do it and show up, versus a guy who does a match and then disappears for 8 months to show up again for promos, then disappears for 2 months, and then shows up for a match, I'm all for it if he can do it.
I didn't like this match. I'll
You
be
didn't
honest
like
with
it?
you. No, I listen, when it comes to Sting and Darby,
Mm-hmm.
you ever listen to The Offspring?
Yes, I do.
You got to keep them separated. I just separate them. That's it. Like, just
Do you think the marriage is run its course for that one?
it's hey dad, can I wrestle with you? Yeah, sure thing, bud. It's like, Darby got to be fighting for the All Atlantic title or something, man, because it's like, dude, like, I feel like AEW's missing those more lights out matches, and I feel like Darby, and granted, I understand this is kind of like he's probably working hurt for all that we know, but like, I want to see Darby extend himself a little more than playing second. I feel like it's been a year. Like, why don't you put him against Miro in some type of feud? Because Miro is
True, true.
just sitting at home collecting dust with his hot wife.
Didn't he drop the belt to Miro?
Yes, yes, he did.
So, well, I mean, Miro was coming back and doing that gimmick or doing the feud he had with Al- uh, Malachi Black until Malachi wanted to take some time off. So
Yeah,
now that, well, we'll get to that, but Miro can come back now. He can come back now due
I,
to recent storylines.
yeah, I hope
Um,
so.
I can see that happening. But Sting and Darby, I enjoyed that match because I mean I remember the days when Jeff Jarrett was the champion of TNA and he was the writer. And whenever Jeff Jarrett was in charge, yes, he booked himself to win the belt, but at the same time, he built up people around him to make the whole company look better. He put a lot of emphasis on the X division, put a lot of emphasis on the women's division, he put a lot of emphasis on the tag team division whenever he was doing that. When Anthem took over and Hogan took over and all the other people that took over it, it went downhill. I'll just be honest, it went downhill.
Yeah,
But when he was in charge, we had comedy parts, we had serious parts, we had America's Most Wanted destroying Team 3D left and right. It was good. It was good. When they brought Hogan in, that's when they kind of peaked. I'm like,
I,
oh, it was
when
a
I
good run.
when I think of Jeff Jarrett, I just can't help but think of when Samoa Joe didn't sign that contract. Kurt Angle came in, and then Jeff Jarrett just steals the title and he just scurries
Yeah.
across the screen.
Yep. I remember that. I remember that. But this match, it was fun to see, Darby and Jay Lethal with like Sting and Jeff Jarrett kind of filling time. My only complaint is that why was just Jeff Jarrett, dressed like a can of Mountain Dew Code Red whenever he's been wearing nothing but black before the match? He looks like the black cowboy from Halloween 5 and 6.
Oh yes, yes, movies that I have enjoyed thoroughly.
Yeah,
Oh, thank you. Oh, you know how to tie it all together,
I
my
do.
man.
I try. Horror
Oh,
movies are
dude.
my thing. Horror movies are
Oh,
my thing.
listen, I love those movies. Um, yeah, it's very true. It was, yeah, you know what? Now seeing it through the TNA lens, I might have a second watch and catch it online or something.
It was a very TNA styled match, and I know Jarrett and Sting helped put that match together to really showcase Lethal versus Allen.
Hmm.
But at the same time, I enjoy Jeff Jarrett's involvement because he does have the eye to write good wrestling. He does have the eye to write good matches. And if they're bringing in Jeff Jarrett to help with matches, and they're letting Sting work more behind the scenes, and we're getting Billy Gunn working behind the scenes, and I think Jake Roberts is now working behind the scenes a little bit more too with promos. Let it happen. Let it happen. Wealth of knowledge. Wealth of knowledge. You might not like Jeff Jarrett. You might not like whatever he's been from, but the guy has a wealth of knowledge that whenever he works a match that he's not a part of, the match is usually entertaining. So
Yeah,
I'll just say that for that one with that. And then next up, we have probably one of the biggest pops of the night besides the Elite coming back. And that was a Jamie Hayter versus Tony Storm.
that outcome. I didn't expect it.
You didn't?
No, I thought she was gonna retain, and they were gonna run back the whole Thunder Rosa thing, and now I could say this because
Yeah,
as we're doing this on a Wednesday night, and if you listen this far enough, I appreciate it. She is now officially the women's AEW champion,
she
not
is.
interim. Th- and Tony Storm, I know she's somewhere just punching a wall right now because it's like she's like, "Are you fucking serious?" Like,
Yeah,
which I get it. Whatever backstage politics is going on, it is
that's
what it
true.
is.
That's true.
I was very surprised that they were really high on Hater because I thought they were gonna set it up where Britt Baker screwed her over, and then it was just like, oh,
That's coming. That's going to come
yeah,
because of Britt Baker's character, current character. Um, I mean, I knew Hater was going to get it because of the crowd reaction, and Tony, ever since he messed up with not giving the Acclaim the belts the last pay per view
hmm
and giving the belts, I think 2-3 weeks later,
yeah,
he's not going to make the same mistake twice. And so I know he heard the crowd reaction with Hater. I know he heard the crowd reactions leading up to this match. Hater was getting the belt,
oh yeah.
and there was no way that he wasn't going to do that. So it happened. I'm glad it happened. Um, it was a good match. It was a brawl, technicality, some flying here and there, but overall, it was a decent match. My only complaint with this, my or take it back. One of my big complaints with this match are the punches. For some reason, Tony Storm, she can't throw a punch anymore. She like pulls her punches way too early, and I know people will use that gif of the extra from the Dark Order like punching
Yeah,
Dustin Rhodes and not
yeah.
hitting him. That's what Tony Storm has become. She's become that gif where when she throws a punch, she pulls really early and nothing connects. It's
I
it's like it's like Riho's fighting.
I I think what it is more of the whole. I don't want to say stigma, but the whole air of all these women don't know how to work. It's botchamania week after week. She's probably holding her punches because she's afraid, or
Yeah,
maybe someone said, "Hey, why are you throwing your punches this way? Throw it this way." When you change your routine, it's like, "Oh fuck!" Like I gotta.
yeah. And
And,
from what I've heard is that pulling punches or throwing the wrong punches is what kind of what got Thunder Rosa in trouble with Britt Baker. And someone needs to. I don't want to say someone needs to go in there and train the women, but have somebody show up to help perfect the punches with the women to where they're doing it correctly, or doing it not correctly, but doing it on a look that seems uh, realistic.
I know just the guy, Steven Seagal.
Okay, we want somebody to throw punches, not throw food.
Oh yeah, not.
I could just see Will Sasso coming in and just running up walls.
You sit here, I go with punch. All right, not.
Kick the wall.
If anything, and no slate or no shade towards Hater. I think, and honestly, you could correct me if I'm wrong, but I think if Statlander wasn't injured, this would have been Statlander's moment.
I'm sure it would have been. I'm sure it would have been. She every time Statlander gets to that level of almost getting the belt or getting the title match, she gets injured.
The ghost of Kevin Nash says, "Hey, you want
Yeah,
to see how you throw a quad? Watch this."
pretty much.
It's just the
it
force ghost of Kevin Nash. Hey, what are you doing? It's crazy, and it's gonna be interesting where they go from there.
is.
As
It will be. It
Because I
definitely will be.
know, I mean, we already know what's gonna happen. It's gonna be Britt Baker probably
Yeah.
taking the belt off of her. Britt Baker holds it for a few more months. Statlander takes it off of her. Statlander's big shit, and then Jade Cargill comes in, but we don't know because the thing is, Jade's the TV. If the TBS title wasn't invented, she'd still be doing promos with Shaq. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
True. That is
So,
true.
so it elevated her, and we'll see from there.
Very much true. So next match we got, and we're almost done with these matches. So next match we got is that we have the Acclaim versus Swerve in Our Glory.
Oh
This is
shit! Yeah, that's right.
round number three. Round number three. Um, again, I know I said in the past when we covered the AEW pay per view, Swerve is so good. Swerve is scarily good. He is just that he knows what he's doing. He knows what he's doing. Uh, Keith Lee has gotten better. I know when he left NXT, he wasn't himself. When he
No,
first joined AEW, he wasn't himself. I think in the most recent months, Keith Lee has slowly gone back to the way he used to be. He's gotten back into that shape. He's gotten back into that person who has something to prove.
you know,
And I think
yeah,
it's him chasing the belt, which makes him work harder.
I think so. And then also, I mean, as if Keith Lee's personal life. I mean,
Yeah.
he didn't have an easy way to the even to get to the show. And
No.
then obviously, with his trainer and his muse, dying, and then losing family members to COVID, and then
Yeah.
catching COVID, and then dealing with the ramifications from that, and then mental health issues from, because that's the thing that once he got into the main roster, WWE was just kind of like, hey, we're gonna do this for you. And he's such an intellectual guy, and that's
Yeah.
evident by his vocabulary and by the way he carries himself. He knows that if he's not getting put 110% behind him, he's not gonna give 110%. With him doing that, he might
Yeah.
as well shut down.
I think with Keith Lee, he suffers the same issues in WWE that Brody Lee did, where he looks a certain way, but his personality is the complete opposite. And I know with Brody Lee, whenever he was Luke Harper, they wanted him to be this, redneck hillbilly kind of swamp rat type character. But he's so well spoken that it didn't fit. Keith Lee is a big dude who shouldn't move the way he does. And he talks with, that higher intelligence with big vocabulary. So it doesn't fit with what WWE wanted him. What okay, no, with what Vince wanted him to be. Didn't fit.
He's wrestling Neil deGrasse Tyson. That's
Yes.
literally that. Whenever I cross a plane of existence and they say, "Hey, do you want Morgan Freeman? Do you want so and so?" I'm like, "No, I want Keith Lee." Like, I want the voice of God to be like, "Hello, how's it going?" And it is crazy that you brought up Brody Lee, because the other day, like, he was one of my favorites, and
Hmm.
he was such a like one of whenever I'm in a shitty mood, and I'm sure you've seen this video where he goes, "Hey, you're going on the road, you're going to Japan, and you're trying to talk to people, and you don't know sign language. What kind of sign language do you use?" And he goes like this, and he goes, "What's that mean?" And he goes, "It means fuck you." Oh God, rest in peace,
uh,
Brody, man. I love that guy, man.
if I want to watch a good Brody Lee video, I'll watch that BTE section with Sue when Sue drops dinner off for the Dark Order, and that whole bit because you could tell he's trying not to break character. He's trying to work with Sue, who can't throw paper, and the rest of the Dark Order are trying to not laugh and break character, and it's just so much fun. It's just a lot of fun.
I
But
throw paper the same way at my office when I walk in the door. I do that. And I'm just like, "That's for you, Brody."
yeah, so I mean, uh, I see Keith Lee the same way as Brody Lee. People who came from Vince who were booked a certain way based on their looks instead of their personalities and what they could bring. And now that Triple H is back in charge, and with Keith Lee, kind of you hear things and you don't want to know it's true. I'm I can see Keith Lee going back to Triple H's WWE and being happier over there, especially with his wife over there now. I see that happening. But with this match, to kind of get back to the match, it was really good. It was a lot of fun. Whole bunch of false finishes, which with these workers, it was expected. Uh, Swerve bringing out the bolt cutters to cut off fingers to kill the scissoring,
Yeah,
and
that
then
was cool.
Billy Ass running out there saving it. I mean, this match had a lot of mixed emotions and feelings throughout the entire thing. They told a story, and I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. The Acclaimer is so over. Billy Gunn has never been this over since his DX days. Even then, he was still overshadowed by Road Dogg. Billy Gunn is living the best popular life as he's doing right now, and it's with the Acclaim. And this match was a lot of fun to watch. I enjoyed it. Had fun, watching it again when my kids wanted to watch it again. And yeah, what'd you think?
Billy Gunn. You ever watch the show Entourage?
No.
Oh, really? Wow.
Nope.
Well, for my entourage fans out there, Billy Gunn is the Johnny Drama of this, entourage. Like the Acclaimed are they exceeded expectations because I'll be honest with you, when I first seen them come out, I'm just like, oh, look at these cornballs, and then they started doing the scissor me, and I'm like, oh, that's pretty funny. And then it's just like, yo, when are they gonna give these guys the belts? And it was like, whoa, voodoo magic has worked, and they're super over. I mean, like whenever I go to an AEW, I'm at a wrestling show, I'm just like even with my boss, I'm like, hey, sis, for me, like I know that's an HR issue, but I'm just like,
Yeah.
no, it's wrestling related. Trust me.
I have been a fan of the Acclaimed uh, early on when they first started doing the rap. To the point to where whenever they start showing up at pay-per-views, I'm like, I would tell people, shut the fuck up. I will punch people if you don't shut up so I can hear the rap. And people listen. And then now all of our FRN circle, everybody's an Acclaim fan now. They're all Acclaim fans. But I remember like watching those dark matches and sharing the dark match raps in our group chats, and they're all like, this is okay. I'm like, bitch, please. This is hilarious. And then finally, now they're all fans of the Acclaimed.
Sesame Daddy.
And well, here the thing is that my kids like the Acclaimed as well, and I'm having like flashbacks of my youth and DX days, where you go to
Yeah.
school and you're doing the things that you learn from wrestling, and it's not what you think the teacher should be seeing. Uh, so I
Oh no.
because I remember like when DX came out, I would go to school because I was in high school whenever they came out, and I would tell people and everything. I would tell them suck it, and I'll do the crotch chop and all that. Now you've got kids running around scissor me daddy. I'm like, oh no, oh no,
it's like, oh, how does it feel to be on the other side now?
yeah,
Suck it now.
oh, have the turn of tables. Oh
Yeah.
yeah, it's but they're fun, they're entertaining. God, man, they're so hilarious with the raps. But great match. I enjoyed it. Um, I like heel swerve more than face swerve. Really enjoy heel swerve, and I want to see Swerve and Keith Lee have some matches against each other because I think that would be great.
Oh,
With
dude, that in the promo too, cut the malarkey and just even tonight on Dynamite when they just covered the camera and they're like, oh, so what do you want to talk about? I'm like, that's how you fucking do it.
that's how you do it. That's how you set it up. So leaving that match to the main event, MJF versus John Moxley. I'm pretty sure everybody knew who was going to win this match. We had speculations of how it was going to win too. I know at work, I talked to the other coworker I have that's a big wrestling fan. I'm like, either A, Regal's going to slide uh, MJF the brass knucks, and MJF is going to win, or B, Regal's going to slide MJF the brass knucks. Moxley catches it from him, wins, and we have tension between Mox and Regal.
I thought that was gonna happen, or even with Wardlow dropping the belt. I thought something was like I thought Wardlow was just gonna come back and be like,
Yeah,
"Oh, let me help," but it was done effortlessly. It was very like it was expected, but it was like, no, they're not gonna do that. Like it's like with other shows when they're booking them, you're thinking, no, they're gonna go this way, and then it goes the
yeah,
other way. It's like, no, they actually did it. So
they did it. They pulled the trigger. So I mean, what does that do for the BCC? Well, that's different terminology, but still, what they do with that group,
yeah,
um, what happens, and even tonight on Dynamite, that wasn't answered. That technically was not answered at all. So it's a big kind of open-ended story that still needs some uh, further, I guess, episodes to cover. But for the match itself, it was great. We got brawling, we got false finishes, we got a lot of things that were definitely needed for this match. And props to Regal for keeping the same eating Mega Sour Warhead's face the entire match and not giving away anything just and until the very end. Big props for him for doing that because he looked in the corner and it looks like Regal has popped another Warheads or another sour apple candy in his mouth, and he's got that look. So props to him. I enjoyed it. It was probably match of the night, second only to the 6-man tag for me. So
It was match of the night for me. It
It was?
was, yeah, no, it was good because I was like, finally, it's the crowning achievement. It's like, where the hell was this when he was cutting the promos? You know, where it was like almost like a presidential thing with Orange Cassidy, but
Yeah,
like timing is everything.
it is
Uh,
timing.
and just the post media show where he was just
Oh
like,
my gosh, that was awesome.
"Thank you, fuck you, bye,"
Yeah,
like incredible. It was, and it could only go up from here because I think the way things are gonna go as far as MJF, I think it's gonna be him versus Ricky Starks. That's kind of gonna be like a couple month thins,
it is. Yeah, I think, but
and then I
is
think they
Ricky
set up.
Stark
Mhm.
is Ricky Starks ready to do promo battle against MJF? That's the
That's
biggest thing.
oh, dude,
Uh,
the guy's the hottest thing on the stick. Like you don't even know what to do because it's like he he another thing of his immense talent is he treads the line between reality. It's like,
yeah,
does he really feel this way, or is he really like? And he could go off mic because he's done it before. It's like, dude, what the hell are you doing? And it's like, no. And even tonight too, like just not showing up. It's like, oh, that's a real scumbag thing. But it's like, I get it, you know.
yeah. So I mean, yeah. I mean, honestly, I wanted MJF to win because I want Mox to take his vacation. Mox deserves his vacation. We all know the story about that. Um, and again, I wanted Ethan Page to win because the promos that Ethan Page has been cutting lately are good.
Oh, he's always been he's been great the whole
They're
time.
yeah, he's been great the whole time, but his promos recently have been more emotional. They're more of him. Ricky Starks just feels like he's cutting a promo that was handed to him a little bit, that he kind of improvised. I get that feeling from him.
Yeah,
So when you're doing a promo battle, I feel that Ricky Starks is just going to get destroyed promally, and he'll put on a decent match because Ricky Starks is good. But for the long haul, Ethan Page thinks that was the choice to go with, and that didn't happen
yeah,
after tonight. But this match, uh, MJF versus Mox, great match. Yeah, match second match of the night for me behind the six man. Which and it was a great way to close out the pay per view. It was a good match to close out the pay per view. Uh,
yeah. It's only up from here, honestly, because it's if the CM Punk thing, what, say what you want, say what you will. If it's true, if it's not true, you got that
mhm,
on the back burner, and then you have him and Wardlow,
yeah,
or and the thing is, you could pair him up with just about anybody. It's just a matter of if they could hold the stick against him, because honestly, man, MJF can, like, he could turn the crowd, like he said. He's like,
yeah,
"Oh, you believe me?
yeah,
Sympathy for the devil, You think I love this guy? Sorry,
yeah.
grow up." It's just like, wow. It's like,
But
oh, what a piece of shit, but he's right.
yeah, and it's also one of the few pay per view or one of the pay per views in a long time that actually had a good ending that didn't end on a botch or didn't end on backstage politics or didn't end on a sour note. I mean, all out, great pay per view until the media scrum with all that the fallout that happened with that.
Oh yeah,
The pay per view before that, MJF not showing up to his meet and greets overshadowed his match with Wardlow with
and
that.
it was a squash.
Yeah, and it was a squash. And then even before that, you had like the death matches, where or Jericho falling off the cage to what linoleum paneling on the ramp that
Yeah,
they showed in the camera. So this was the first pay per view where it ended on a high note where there wasn't a mess up, there wasn't a camera flub, there wasn't any of that. It was a good pay per view. It was a fun pay per view. So it reminded me a lot of Cash of the Castle. Clash of the Castle was a fun pay per view. I enjoyed most of it. I have high hopes for a Survivor Series, and we'll see how that goes.
I'll
I
be in the
mean,
building, so I might be.
oh, you'll
I
be in the
listen.
building?
Oh, I'm gonna be. Yeah, it's in my backyard, man. I'll be in
Oh,
Boston. I'll be. Oh, dude, I can't wait until I'm there because this is my first ever War Games. This is my first ever pay per view. Like,
nice.
and to say that Regal just walked off, he said, "I want you to run far away, real, real far away." I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if somehow he finagled a, "Hey, I know I'm technically a free agent because my year is up with AEW.
Hmm.
I just need 30 seconds to go to Boston,"
To
and just
say War
say,
Games.
"Oh, dude, if he says that, Oh, bottom left, in person, like.
You know what you're gonna have to do when you get there. Shoot me pictures of the shirt so I can send you PayPal money for a shirt. You get that
I'll,
PayPal money.
oh, see, I never make it to the merch stands. I'm always like, oh, it's always, oh, the Garden is the worst. I will say that because I went there for a SmackDown. It was bad.
Yeah, but they usually with the pay-per-views they usually incorporate like the local flavor for their pay-per-view
Oh,
merch.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
I
I'll
mean,
see.
I got the when the Royal Rumble when we had the Edge Royal Rumble, the Edge Return Royal Rumble, they were selling Houston Astros Royal Rumble shirts
Oh
that
damn, I didn't know they do that.
they actually had the Astros logo on the Royal Rumble shirt.
Oh damn, that's
When we
cool.
had Survivor Series here at the Toyota Center, which is the Rockets play area, they had red Survivor Series shirts with the Rockets logo on it.
Ooh,
So because you're in Boston, depending on what venue they're at, Celtics, uh,
Red Sox or
Patriots,
Patriots.
you know, you have your choice. Red Sox.
Oh, I definitely got. Oh, dude, if I could get a Celtic green Shotzi Blackheart shirt, oh, that'd be awesome.
Hey, they might have it. They might
Uh,
have it there.
but
But
yeah, that was Full Gear.
that was Full Gear. I mean, overall, I would give it 7.5 out of 10. So I really enjoyed it. Uh, I thought it was great. Just some match endings I would have changed for certain people, but I had fun watching, and I had fun watching it with my kids. They really enjoyed it. So this is the first pay per view where they've wanted to watch it over again the next day. So that says something to me that they're enjoying it. So it's stupid, you know. Yet you know their characters. They love the Elite. They love Orange Cassidy. They love the Evil Danhausen. They thought that was the coolest thing ever. And I'm just like, yeah, he's going through his hot topic phase right now. But they loved it. It was great. So that's my thing. I mean, so what's your overall review of the show?
Yeah, I would say like about a 7, 7.5. If I saw it on a bigger screen and I was more focused,
Mm-hmm.
I think it would have been higher. Other than
Okay.
that, it was good for what seeing in the background and flashes and just looking back. And I tell you, the Elite knows how to troll because tonight on Dynamite, man.
Oh, so let's talk about that match from Dynamite tonight. Let's just talk about that one
Yeah,
because
yeah.
time constraints and everything. So tonight's Dynamite was filmed in Chicago, the home of CM Punk, the city of CM Punk. And there's speculation, are they going to boo him? Are they going to cheer them? You know, what's going to happen? Because we saw in New Jersey a big FU CM Punk chant happened. It happened. Tonight they're in Chicago, CM Punk's hometown. The second Wayward Son starts playing, they are booed. They're heavily booed on the way to the ring. When they're introducing the champions, you can hear CM Punk chants the entire time. They're chanting it the entire time. So if you're supposed to be baby faces and you're supposed to, you know, this is your comeback, how do you deal with that? How do you deal with that hate? You troll. But how do you troll in a match? How do you do that? Simple. You start imitating the moves of the person that this city is saving or wanting to come back. And how do you do that? Oh boy. So I caught some things that because we were texting back and forth when
Yeah.
this was happening. So I caught some things. You caught some things. So here's what happened. Here's what I caught. When Matt Jackson did I think he did like a suplex outside the ring, and he got into the sitting position, which is Punk's pipe bomb position,
I
and
didn't
he
see
did,
that. Yeah.
and he rolled into the sitting position that Punk would do when he did the pipe bomb, and he did the praying hands. I'm like, oh shit, that's a troll move. Kenny Omega doing the go to sleep hand gesture during the middle of the match. That's a troll move to get the crowd hyped. The biggest one I saw, Kenny Omega has Pac's arm and he's doing like an arm drag. And he goes and starts biting his arm, like around the forearm, to imitate what Ace Steel did to him. That's a troll move because everybody's reacting. So what did you catch?
So I caught the bite. I didn't catch the cross. The obvious one was the GTS,
Yeah, the
which
GTS.
he hit incredible. And when he was holding, he's like, "Oh, that the classic." That's what I love about it. Just the classic Kenny. The what am I doing? Whatever. Like,
Yeah.
and I know we're here for time constraints, but the whole video of him my favorite troll job is him running a register because he's like, "Oh, you
At
couldn't run a
Target.
Target," and he's like, "Oh, dude." Anytime I start my trainings for my new employees, I
Uh-huh.
show them that video. I'm like, "This is how you do it." But the one
Oh,
thing,
yeah, like, well, even the botched, the buckshot lariat where
yeah,
they're making
that,
fun of Punk. Oh, man.
and I was just like, these guys, and the fact that they kept the song Wayward Son. So I don't
Yeah,
know if this is, like, whoever, they know how to contact these 70s bands because you got Jefferson Starship with
Jane.
Jane,
Jane, yeah.
which I was there in Worcester when they first premiered it, so that was incredible to hear in person.
Mhm.
And then now Wayward Son, so it's I know they don't want to make it CM Punk versus this and that, but it's like them boys know what they're doing. They're like, you know what, you're gonna
They
give us
do.
this, we're gonna give it back to you.
They do. So yeah, that happened tonight. It was hilarious. I laughed. Yeah, I've checked social media, and there's so many people. This is why Elite's going to go out of business. This is why these are nothing but gymnastic uh, kids. Calling them kids, calling them, the company's going to go under. All that mess. I'm like, you didn't get the joke. You didn't see the joke what they were doing. It was. I found it hilarious. Look, I'm a CM Punk fan. I am. I'm an Elite fan. I enjoy both of them. I also know how to laugh. I also know how to have fun with it. Does anybody remember what happened with Edge and Lita and Matt Hardy? That whole thing, and they lived through that. Edge was doing Hardy symbols. He was doing the gun symbols. He was doing leg drops. He was doing twists of fates, all while Matt was gone, doing the exact same thing that the Elite are doing about Punk. Exact same thing. Different timelines now. Different timelines, different companies. But that's what was happening. Does anybody remember what Punk did when Jeff Hardy was off the company because of his abuse and his drug abuse and everything? Punk did the same thing to him. The hand signals, the twist of fates, the face paint, all of that. He made fun of him. But now he can't take a joke the other way around.
Yeah, it's
Ah,
it's it's you know what? It's all fun and games till you're on the other side of it, but that's the beauty in pro wrestling because beefs aren't ever forever
yeah,
unless you're the Iron Sheik, which,
yeah.
fuck the Hulk Hogan. But
Or New Jack, or New Jack,
exactly.
or New
So,
Jack. You take that
but
to the grave.
exactly. Other than that, I'm liking what this iteration of the Bucks are doing, and hate
Yeah,
it, love it, that you're still talking about it, and that's what they want.
I can't wait to see the Elite ice cream bar T-shirts that are going to come out soon because
Oh shit.
just to throw salt into that Chicago wound. But I mean, to end this part of it, they went from getting booed out of the building when they entered that match to getting "This is awesome" chants and people clapping and people even starting chanting FCM Punk in Chicago. That happened. That happened. And to be able to turn the tide of that with your audience, that's a smart way of doing it. That's a genius way of doing it.
Oh,
So
it's a
props.
masterclass. It is,
Props.
and
Props.
I hated the Bucks at one point, but after seeing that cage match with Death Triangle last year,
Yes.
I was like, all right,
Yeah,
these guys are the truth.
they are. I became a fan of the Bucks whenever I saw them go up against Roppongi 3K on Wrestle Kingdom, the one that had Jericho versus Omega.
Oh
I
yeah,
watched that, and them versus Roppongi 3K, so good match, such a good match.
it's funny
So
that you mentioned Kenny Omega and New Japan because
yeah,
that fucking promo, man,
yeah, yeah, true, true.
and
The
and his Japanese is. He said, "Oh, I'm gonna show you how to really do this."
the best bout machine versus the Billy Goat. So it's gonna happen.
Oh,
And
I
then
can't wait.
was it Carl Anderson's gonna work New Japan as well too. So hey, Forbidden Doors are
Oh,
slowly creeping. But speaking of Forbidden Doors, this week we have Thanksgiving. And one thing about Thanksgiving, we have food, we have family, but for most of us, we have alcohol and movies to watch to forget the family that just visited. So to kind of wrap things up, to kind of taper down this episode, um, what are some of the movies that you enjoy during Thanksgiving that you like to watch? I know there's not a lot of Thanksgiving movies that are out there. There are some, not a lot, but what are some that you know of that you like to that you enjoy to watch?
I actually have five.
You got five? I got five too, and you better not look at my social media to get those five.
Nope. My five, I'll say them right now. Rocky 1, Rocky 2, Rocky 3, Rocky 4.
Oh, you son of a bitch. Oh,
I'm
you
just
son of a bitch.
no, I'm kidding. But the first one I will say is any of the Rocky movies. You can literally turn on the TV anytime, whether if it's
True.
Spike. Oh, I'm sorry, TN. I'm sorry, Paramount Network,
Spike. I remember Spike TV.
the TV show for men. Oh God, what a time! That's another episode for
Stripperella.
another day.
Stripperella.
Listen, that was made a Stanley property.
It was. And he
Um,
was standing properly too.
yeah, Rocky. Any of the Rockies 1 through
Hmm.
5 for the first one, man. It's a Thanksgiving staple when you're in that turkey
It
coma
is.
and you
It
hear
is.
hearts on fire. It's like I'm ready for that pecan pie. I didn't hear no bell.
That's true. So I posted this list, and this would kind of spawn this moment, this section for this episode. Was I posted this list earlier this week, and I just listed 5 movies, just 5 generic movies. And I got so much response back. How come this movie isn't there? How come this movie isn't there? How come you didn't miss this movie? And I'm like, I just barely listed 5 that are random. I'm not
Hmm.
going to go through and list the entire movie catalog of movies that happened during Thanksgiving. Just ones that I know off the top of my head. That's it. So if you've heard of this one, you can tell me your thoughts of it. If you haven't heard of this title, just say, hey, where can I watch it? And or I'll kind of explain that one. For me, the obvious choice, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. That's a classic. John Candy, uh, Steve Martin. Yeah,
Yep.
Steve Martin. I wanted to say Steve Downs again, and it's not him. Steve Martin, John Candy, great comedy movie. Uh, so much fun.
Those aren't pillows.
That one, I enjoy watching that one. I believe you can watch that one on either Paramount or on Peacock or
I
on
got it on.
HBO. It's on
I
one
got
of
it
the
on.
streaming sites. It is
I
on
got
one
it
of the
on
streaming
DVD.
sites.
So that's one of
You got
my favorite
DVD?
holiday movies.
Uh, Next up, another classic. This one is probably one of the few movies that was centered around Thanksgiving. And that's The Son-in-Law with Pauly Shore.
Oh fuck, that's on my list.
That's on your list?
That is on my list. Polly Shore, you are a gem. I love that
Crawl.
movie.
His name was Crawl.
Yeah.
What kind of name is that? But yeah, that I mean, and also we got Kelly Kapowski with the short hair in that movie too.
Yep.
So we definitely did. Uh, the movie that most people probably forgot because it bombed at the box office, but the movie Dutch with Ed O'Neill or Al Bundy at the time.
No, I
Uh,
never seen that one. I probably saw it like on cable at some point, but no.
it's more of a darker comedy. It's got some funny elements to it. Basically, a father spending time with, I believe, a stepson to try to the bonding experience type movie. It's very hard to find on Blu-ray and DVD if you can find it, or if you have a region-free player. But it is worth a watch. I enjoyed it. I need to get it on DVD. I really do. Uh, because I'm a horror fan, I've got to throw some horror movies in here.
Okay.
The obvious choice,
Oh
Thanks,
god.
Thanks Killing. That's the obvious choice,
You just been stuffed.
and its sequel that didn't want to have a part 2 that skipped right to the trilogy, Thanks Killing Part 3. So yeah, there's
Oh
only
shit.
one. There's only 1 in 3. They skipped the second sequel.
See, this is in the same realm as Jack Frost because the other night, or not the other night, a few months ago, I was just like, I was literally messaging you like, "Is this what happens?" No, there's no way. And then I saw the second one, so that's and
The
then
killer snowballs in the tropic island.
oh
Oh
my
my
god.
that movie's it's it's insane. But yeah, Thanksgiving is mutant turkey killing people, and then the reason for the third one is because they were so evil that they didn't want to do a sequel. They wanted to do a trilogy, but with only 2 movies. So they skipped to part 3. How does that
Uh,
make sense? It doesn't, but it works for this movie series. It works. So just go with it. And my final movie, it was on Netflix. They took it off recently. Don't know why. I looked for a DVD. There isn't one. I looked for a Blu-ray. There isn't one. I looked to see if there's anyone getting released. It is not. But this was on Netflix for a while. The movie's called Christie. Kristy. It is about a group of slashers or a group of murderers that stalk a girl at her dorm during Thanksgiving week when everybody else is left home. Her and her roommate have stayed up at school, and a group of killers have come to get them.
Hmm.
It is really good. It's in the same kind of realm as the movie Hush, which is still on Netflix. Uh, but it's a good movie. If you can find it, watch it. A lot of fun. I enjoyed it. And those are my picks. Were there any on the ones that I didn't mention that you want to recommend?
Yeah, so outside of the son-in-law, let me pull up my list here. So Rocky, obviously. The Blind Side.
Really?
Yes, the Michael Orr story. That's
That's
Thanksgiving movie.
that's been on cable recently too.
Yeah, that one's good. Um, Coming to America. I always see that on Thanksgiving or Christmas.
Okay.
So that one's one of my personal favorites. And then the other one, which I'm surprised you didn't mention, but it does have a Thanksgiving scene in it, and I consider it a Thanksgiving movie. And there is a Macy's Thanksgiving parade in it.
Go ahead and say it.
Spider-Man.
Yeah. The only reason why I didn't say that was because they kind of um, they go through so many of the holidays that like they go from high school through to college, and the Thanksgiving scene does happen. Uh, it's still fun to watch. I know Spider-Man's been playing recently on cable again because of that scene. Same with another movie that wasn't mentioned that I've been told to list because of a scene that happens, even though it doesn't happen in November. Adam's Family Values. They
I
have a
did see that on the
Thanksgiving
list
scene.
too.
They have a Thanksgiving scene that happens during the summer. So, but it happens though. Uh, with Wednesday Adams playing Pocahontas.
So, oh yeah. So, in closing, I will say this because this is something part of the Pauly Shore universe, multiverse, whatever you want to call
Hmm.
it. So, have you ever seen the movie Encino Man?
Yes, I have. We's in the Jews.
So we have Pauly Shore
Yeah.
and Link. Okay, cool, fine, whatever. And son-in-law during the party,
I know what you're getting at.
there's a party scene where Pauly Shore is dressed as like the fruit lady and whatnot,
Yeah.
and he introduces fire to a Link-like character, which is played by Brendan Fraser.
Yep.
Now, the third one,
Hmm.
in the army now, there's a scene where they're in the mess hall.
Okay.
There's this big dude walking by. I think they're eating frog legs. I haven't seen it in years. And they sit down, and if you pause it and look for it, his name on his jacket says Link.
You know, that would be the only reason for me to watch that movie again because I watched it, I think, twice, and I have no reason to ever watch it again. But now I'll watch it just to see that kind of
Oh, you'll see
cameo.
it.
Okay.
It's not too far in, and dude, it has hot babes.
It does.
It's all about the nugs.
It definitely does. Encino Man, it is great. Encino Man is great. In the Army Now happened. Just
Biodome, great.
sure, why not?
Hey, you gotta hit a tribal. You gotta hit a tribal every once in a. And also that
Okay,
went to
okay.
a Baldwin.
Listen. Biodome is an okay movie, but I don't have the foot fetish like Joe Pisano does, for like that movie has. Okay, with them biting the toes of each other's toenails off of each other's feet. That's not
Oh,
me.
I know what I'm gonna.
That's not me.
uh, that's funny.
So, but yeah. So if you made it this far, thank you for listening, and hopefully you'll watch some of the movies that we suggested. I think another one that people suggested to me that I'd say is Blood. The movie. It's a horror movie called Blood Rage, which also had like 5 other movie titles that I knew of as the movie Slasher. So that one, you can check that one out as well. But thank you for listening this far. Hopefully we'll have Chris back sometime soon. So Chris, sorry you missed out, but you were missed. But go enjoy your life. Go enjoy your family. Have fun doing that. And yeah, thanks for listening, everybody. Check us out on our YouTube. Check us out on our Instagram. Check us out on our Facebook. Rito, where can they find you?
They could find me probably stuffing my face tomorrow. No, you can find me on most of my social medias at Rito's Modern Life. Just hit me up, say what's up. I will be at Survivor Series, so if anyone who's listening to the shows in Boston, I will be there for a few days, and you want to say what's up, that's cool. Other than that, I'm thankful for everyone. I'm thankful for the opportunity being back on the show again. I'm officially a 2-time guest, or maybe a 3-time. I don't know, but it is recognized. I am here. There's another show. I don't know if he's listening. I don't think he's gonna listen this far, but I got another movie for another movie podcast. Cult 45. I'm coming for you, motherfucker.
You're trying to like do like the left hand of Thanos since you already got the right hand.
Oh, dude, the right hand's occupied. I need the lefty now.
You need the lefty now?
Take that how you want it.
And with that, thank you for listening. And until next time, I know I'm prepping a possible Christmas bracket for movies. So we'll see how that goes. Who knows? So thanks again for everybody listening. And until next time, I'm your host, Aaron. And again, Rito, thank you for joining me for this evening. And happy Thanksgiving.
Great to be here.
God damn it.
Thanks for listening. If you like what you heard, check out crossthestreamsmedia.com to hear more episodes of this podcast and the other shows on the Cross the Streams network. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review on Apple Podcasts or wherever you download your favorite shows. Visit crossthestreamsmedia.com for more information. See you next time.
This has been a Cross the Streams Media Podcast.